local culture, local events, your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
And hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike Bozak's our guest. Mike is with the Landmark Society of Greater Utica. We're talking about landmarks, including Union Station and some other landmarks in the area. But before we do that, we're going to say, Mike, welcome. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Joe. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. And a little bit of social distancing here, a little awkward, but we'll get through it. Mike, before we get to Union Station, Landmark Society, like everybody else, have been so impacted by this COVID. You've got a lot of special events. You've got a lot of things that you do down at historic Rucker Park. Talk about that a little bit, Mike.
Well, we have been impacted. Unfortunately, we have not been able to do our summer walks and talks this year because of the COVID. Also, we have mansion tours in the Rucker mansions that have been canceled or at least postponed for the time being. Normally we have a bus trip in the fall that's been canceled, and we're even looking at whether we can have an annual meeting or not.
Mm-hmm. This all plays, Mike, to the part of raising money. I mean, these events, the bus trip, the tours, the open houses, these are all fundraisers.
Absolutely they are, and that's our main source of income other than membership. So we are, we're suffering as far as that goes, as most not-for-profits are.
Yeah. If somebody wants to be, that's a good segue, Mike. If somebody wants to become a member of Landmarks, it's, some people have the mistaken belief, I know they had this at the United County History Center. That's one of the reasons why the name was changed from the United County Historical Society, because they didn't want to give the impression that it was a closed group, and Landmarks is certainly not a closed group.
Not at all. We have memberships, and we'd be happy to have more members. Obviously, we're on Facebook or we're on a website, so certainly more members are better as far as that goes. And there are a lot of people concerned about our mission and what we do.
Is that the best way to get a hold of Landmarks and apply for not apply, but to get a membership? Is through Facebook or
Facebook or our website, yes.
Okay. One of the gems of Utica's landmarks, I would say, is Union Station, yes?
Oh, absolutely. And Landmarks was formed because of the destruction that was scheduled to take place. They were talking about tearing Union Station down. Landmarks was formed in 1974 to combat that destruction, potential destruction.
Well, that's a good segue for me, because I was doing some reading the other day, Mike, and I forget where I was reading this. It was online somewhere, and it was talking about that very point. And this is what it said. It was a website having to do with stations, train stations around the country. And this is a quote from that website. State Assemblyman Nicholas Calogero and the fledgling Landmark Society of Greater Utica spearheaded the movement to restore the station and to save the station.
Very true.
Yeah. If it hadn't been for Nick Calogero and Landmarks, I don't know what would be down there at that building. Well, I think I do know. You'd probably have like one of those Greyhound bus stops.
Yes. We call them Amshacks. That's basically what they were talking about. Tearing it down and putting something very, very functional and very, very ugly, actually.
Yeah. You've been around on trains, Mike. How does, as have I, how does Utica's Union Station rack up against other stations around the country?
Well, Utica is way ahead of the curve for a change when it comes to Union Station, because Union Station is, 106 years old now, and has always been a train station, right from the very beginning in 1914. Up until today, it's always been a train station. Now, of course, a bus station, and also offices for the county, which, the county has been an excellent steward of that building. But, it's, when you look at the other New York State cities in particular, outside of Grand Central Terminal, which, of course, Amtrak doesn't go to anymore, Utica is the only one that is still a train station, was designed as a train station and continues to be. If you look at Rochester, they have a new station, but their old station was torn down. Syracuse, Buffalo, all of the cities, with the exception of a few of the smaller ones like Poughkeepsie and Yonkers, and Rhinecliff, really, Union Station is the only one that was built as a train station and still is a train station today.
Who designed that? Who was the architects for that? Was it people affiliated with New York City's Grand Central?
Yes, yes. The architect, to the best of my knowledge, was Alfred Fellheimer, and he worked for a company called Reed and Stem, Charles Reed and Alan H. Stem, who designed Grand Central Terminal and several others, along with another group, Warren and Wetmore, sort of one of these unholy marriages, basically, where they took two architectural firms and put them together to create Grand Central Terminal and also Michigan Central Terminal in Detroit. But Alfred Fellheimer is the designer, basically, and then the firm was changing at that point. So if you look at the drawings, they had Alan H. Stem and someone named Long and Fellheimer on it, but Fellheimer was a designer. And I believe that because 2 years later, he designed a station in Macon, Georgia. And if you look at that station, and I have, there are so many similarities to Union Station in Utica, it's unbelievable.
The stations are right. You've ridden trains, Mike. You're a train aficionado.
Oh, yes.
If you tell me, I'll tell you, what are your favorite train stations around the country?
Well, one that comes to mind would be Washington Union Station, which is a phenomenal space.
And that almost got torn down.
That almost got torn down. I was there in the 1980s when it was really a joke. You'd basically go through the building after you got off the train, and it was not in good condition at all. And they spent a lot of money on it, but they restored it to a very, very high quality right now. But that happened after Uticas was renovated back in the late 70s.
What other comes to mind, Mike? Ones that come to my mind, I tell you, I love the train station in San Antonio, Texas.
Yes.
And I love the train station in Los Angeles.
I was going to say Los Angeles. That's another Art Deco masterpiece. Chicago Union Station is excellent. St. Louis is a terrific station. Kansas City is also an excellent station. I have a soft spot in my heart for Buffalo, even though that's been in dire straits for a while. They do have some promising news on that. They've got a new executive director, the not-for-profit that owns that. The problem is it's a very large building, so it's very difficult to do anything with.
All right, we'll talk some more about Union Station. Mike Bozak's our guest. Mike is with the Landmark Society of Greater Utica. They're always looking for members, and it's easy to join up. Just go to their website or to Facebook. Short break, right back.